This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so where did we stop yesterday? We were looking at the sets, isn't it? So let's give me 1 second. Okay, so we were talking about a static set and a dynamic set. All right, so I think we have to see an example. We need to see an example of how does it looks like. Okay, all right. Let's create quickly a folder and get started. Okay, so today we will open the new version of Tableau. So yesterday we saw in one world version of Tableau where creating the set was creating a different pane in the left side. But today we'll try to see where does it create, and also we'll try to understand how to create a join in the new version. All right, so let's take a look. Let's connect to the file. It's connecting to the same Superstore data. All right. So let's go to sheet 1, and so you will be able to see that there is no names such as dimensions and no names such as measures here, isn't it? So only you see tables, and you see that a line is separated. Okay. Now let's do a very simple example and try to find out or try to solve this question. So what is the question here is find out the common customers in 2 years. So in 2 years, okay, I want to be specific, in 2019 and 2020. Because every year you will have the customers coming into your website and they'll be making the purchases. So let's say here, where is order date? Put that here. And I want only 1920. So select both of them and say keep on hold. And if I have the customers here, put the names of the customers right here. These customers are 2019 customers, and if you see the list somewhere down, so these are 2020 customers. So now my question here is, so how many customers are there in 2019 and in 2020? That means find out the common customers in 2 different years. All right, so how do we find out that? And how much sales they have provided me? Am I getting the sales with the existing customers, or am I getting sales with the new customers? So how much percentage of the sales? So I want to find out those informations. So what do we do here is Let's solve this problem with a set. Observe here. All right, so observe here. So let's take the order date and put it into filters and select only 2019 first. Right, so I'm choosing only 2019, and now what I want to take here is take the customers. Where is the customer name or ID? Anything is fine, but I'll take names and put that here. Okay, so how many customers you have? It is somewhere around 1232 customers. So I can see the number here, 1232. Okay, so now what do I do here is let's create a set for it. And is it a static or a dynamic? It's always a question when we are trying to create a set. So here we are trying to compare the values between two different years. So when we are comparing things, then it's always it's the static set which gives the very simple answers. Okay, now I need to add all these customers into a set. So how can I add all these customers? So select that and scroll down and click on shift button and then select all customers. All right, so I'm selecting all customers, and you get a tooltip where you have create a set option. I'm creating a set from the visualization. So create a set and name this set as 2018 customers. Apply. Observe here, where is the set coming here? In the previous version, you had a separate pane called as sets, and this was coming under that set, isn't it? So I want to show the difference. So yesterday I went to old version. And now you are getting from this new version, set is also a part of the dimensions only. Right? So it is not created under a new pane. All right. Now let's create another set with the year 2019. Okay, this is not 18. Sorry. So this is 2019. All right, and let's create a similar set for 2020. Edit the filter, then select 2020, say apply, say okay. Now how many customers you have? So I can see that here it is 1589 customers. Okay, now let's take all these customers again into another set. Okay, so click on the first one and then scroll to the list, hold shift button, select all values, and come to this section, create a set. Just the name this set as 2020 customers. Okay, let's say fine. Now if you observe, we got now two different sets of customers. Now we don't need these informations here, so I'm getting cleared from this section. So I don't want anything from the visualizations now, because I have my data here and I have my data here. So I have two sets now. So what do I do with these two sets? So understand, the set is also the number of records only. All right, so this is also one small table. This is also one small table. So table 1, table 2. If I want to get the common records from both tables, so what do we used to do? We used to do the inner join, isn't it? So inner join is to get the common records between two different tables. Okay, so can I apply the inner join for these two sets here? Okay, let's take a look here. what we can do with this data. Sorry. Now what you have to do is observe there's a new concept here. Select these two sets, right? Select these two sets and right click on them, and you will find a new option, create combined set. Right, so create a combined set. That means I want to join these two sets now based on some conditions. Right, click on that. Take a look at the symbols here. Take a look at these symbols. And now the question here is, are these symbols representing 4 joins? Yes or no? Put your answers in the chat window. So those who already know this, so don't answer, the previous students, but the rest of them. So the question is, are these four symbols pointing to 4 different types of joins? Yes or no? I'll give you 10 seconds. Okay, so we got the majority of the answers yes here, but one person says no. Okay, so why is not the 4 of them? Looks like 4 joins, isn't it? It looks to be 4 different joins, but the answer is no. Right, so why no? So I got one answer from okay, Bhavna. So why you said no? So why are these 4 not related to joins? Can you help me with your answer?
Yeah. In left and right joins, it will take the common data from left as well and right as well, right? But in this, except shared members is there in second, third, and fourth.
Okay, are you looking at this or at this diagram?
At symbol, I am looking at the symbol. There is no common point near left and right.
Exactly. So observe the symbols here. The first symbol is completely it's filled up. So this is definitely a full join. Yes, we can take that. So this can be the full join. And the second, it is showing this way that only the middle section. It looks to be the inner join. Yeah, that's true. But if you observe the third one and the fourth one, the third one looks to be only filling up from here to here. But actually the left join means, so if this is a 2 circles, then it should be till this circle. So even this common intersection is also considered, isn't it? All records from the left table plus the matching records of the right table. So that is also considered. But if you observe this diagram, so it says I'll not consider the matching records. That means that these two are not pointing to the left join and the right join. So there's a small difference in the symbol, but in the first glance, it looks like these 4 are 4 different joins, but these are not 4 different joins. These 4 are 4 different topics here. Right, symbols looks very similar, but so these are not pointing to joins. Right, so just keep an eye on this here. Okay, so now what I need for this to answer, common customers in both the records. So I look at each one here. Shared members in both the sets. Okay, so what data you have common in both of them? Get me that data. All right, so I'm selecting the second option here, and I'm just naming this as the common customers. In which year? 2019, 20. All right, I'm selecting the second option because I need a common customers. Let's say okay. Now what happened here? So if you observe, based on these two sets, it created another set here. Right? So it created another set. What do I have in this set now? Let's put that here. So every time I drag a set, it contains two things: inside the set, outside the set. And just remember this option. Set can also be treated as true or false, or 1 and 0. Right, so we'll talk about this when we discuss calculations. But remember, in or out, in means true, out means false. In means 1, out means 0. Right, so just remember this Boolean values, that's more than enough. Okay, so just that point. But for now, so I can see in and out. I want to see inside of the set, how many are there. That is my requirement now. Okay, just select this option, show members in the set. Right, so and find out the list here. So how many are there? It is 691 customers. Right, so if you observe here, it gives you the number 691. So there are 691 common customers in these 2 years. All right, so how much sales are you getting from the common customers? Then just say in or out, and then take your sales and put it into the columns, and you can see that numbers here. Oh, so with the existing customers only, we're getting too much of sales. So you should not lose your customers then, isn't it? And show me in terms of percentage. Go to analysis, percentage of the table, and with the common customers, you are getting 52% of the sales. Right, so don't lose your common customers. That means the existing customers, so don't lose it, because with the new customers, you're not getting too much of sales. It's like 50-50, we can say that. All right, so this is how we can find out the common customers in 2 different years. But for you, so what is the next question for practice? Let's see how many of them solve this question. Find out common customers in all years. All right, so you try to answer this question. So the customer should be available in all 4 years. So if it is order date, then the customer should be there in 17, 18, 19, and 20 as well. So find out how many are there in all the 4 years. All right, so try this and solve it as an exercise. Right, so not so easy, not so difficult. So just apply the similar concepts. Okay, now the few questions to answer here is, we have created a combined set, isn't it? Yes. And how did you create these sets here? So we created set based on a customer name, and we dragged that data to the sheet, and then we created a set. Very good. And when you are trying to combine two sets, you are getting this option, isn't it? All right. Now what we do here is, let's go to notes section, and let's put this question. Create a set for customers, comma, create another set for products. And question here is, can you combine both sets? Interview question. Okay, so the interviewer says, create a set for customer, take anything. It is a static set, a dynamic set, we really don't care. Create a set, one for customer, one for product. And can you combine both sets? Okay, so Sar showed us how to combine sets. So answer is yes, but answer is no here. Or is that so? Let's take a look. So we already have a set here for customers, and let's create a set for a product here. Right, so create a set, and so you can select anything from this list, and let's say you want only top 10. That's fine. So here we'll say products set, and let's say okay. Right, we got a set here, and if you drag this set and the members inside the set, these are the products. Okay, now come to the question. So you have customer set, you have a product set. So two different sets. Can you combine them? Right click here, and oh, I'm not able to see combine set here, isn't it? But if you select these two things, and when you say this, you are getting this option, create combine set. Okay, let's do it again. So why I'm not seeing that option? Select a customer set, select a product set, and combine. I'm not able to see that, isn't it? So the answer is no, but why you are not able to see that? So now we cannot combine sets of different dimensions. So we cannot do that. So think logically. So one is a customers. Let's say we have some names like this. So Ramesh, Suresh, Naresh, whatever names. And we have another set with the product names. Let's say A, B, C, then X, Y, Z, and then some other name. So this is the output of two different sets. How can you combine them? Isn't it? So this is one complete different data, and this is one complete different data. So there is nothing to match between these two things. So both are very unique data where I don't get any output if I combine as well. And it? So none of the data matches here. So I cannot take a combined result. I cannot take intersection. I cannot take a common from 1, common from 2. Now, because these two are two different, complete different data sets. So that's why we cannot combine sets of different dimensions. This is a very, very, very important interview question as a Tableau certification question. Last week only we had this question in the examination. Right, so you cannot combine sets for different dimensions. So why we it allowed here? You created two sets for the same dimension, which is a customer name. So that's why only you can combine these sets. Okay, remember this very, very useful option. And next one, can I combine this set with another set here? Now observe. So what is the question coming up is, this is my common customers, that is true, which is output of these two. I want to combine these two sets now. Okay, is that possible or not possible? That means the interview question is, can you create combined set for a set which is already combined? Okay, so now right click on this and you can see this option is available again. So that means when you already combine two sets, on that combined set, again if you want to join something else, you can definitely do that. So there is no restriction again there. Okay, so that's the another interview question. So think about it and answer this question. Let's put that question here in the note section. Can you create a set for dimension? And another question, can you create a set for measure? I will answer first one. So can you create a set for dimension? So I'll answer yes. Can you answer? Second, yes or no? Confusing question. Can you create a set for a measure? Alright, so how to validate this? Right click on the dimension, create. Oh, set is available. Excellent. And right click on the measure, on any measure, create. Do you find the set option here? I don't find a set option here. All right. So the interview question answer here is, can you create a set for a measure? No, it is not possible. So we can only create sets for dimensions, and the result also is a dimension. So if you create a set, that is also the just the values which you have. Hey, let me add one more certification question here, which we got just 2 days ago. So one student attempted that, and so let's put that question here. So the options was dimensions and measures. So this was a certification question. So they gave only two things here. What is your answer? Certification question. So which one contain qualitative values? Is it a dimension or is it a measure? So very tricky question, but sorry. The answer for this is this is the answer. So that means here, remember when we say dimensions, and this is nothing but this contains the qualitative values. And what does measures contain? So measures contain quantitative values. Quantitative values. So measures contains quantity. So how much? Dimension contains qualitative. Qualitative means what? Just the names of them. Right? So that's the difference, and this is one of the commonly coming question nowadays from last 1 year. So we are seeing this question. All right, remember, very frequently coming question here. This carries maybe 3 marks, something like that. All right, so let's come back to where we were talking. So we cannot create a set for the dimension, sorry, set for the measures. We can only create a set for the dimensions here. So that's one thing which I wanted to include. And any other questions here in sets? Okay, that's good then. So this is something about the sets in Tableau, and we have to talk something more when we discuss about the calculated fields. So what does a set contains? It contains either true or false. That means it returns a Boolean value. So we have to discuss this in the calculated fields. We'll talk about that later. Okay, now let's go back to the joins. And I saw that in the WhatsApp that so we are trying in the new version and we don't know how to join the tables with it. Yeah, so let's do that today, and let's understand how to use joins in the latest version of Tableau. All right, so let's go back to the screen, and which version is this? Let's double check. It is 2020.2.2. So this is the very latest version, and now if I want to join orders with returns, either with inner join, left join, right join, So how do we do? All right. So generally what we are doing is we are dragging the second table and we used to drop that here, isn't it? So when we do that here, it is not joining here like the previous Tableau versions. So instead, what it is doing here is it is creating a relationship here. So that means, yeah, these two tables can be related to each other with this column. All right, so there are two tables which can be related. So there is no join here. So it is just related to each other. That means some information is available in this table for this table. But how do you know that? Because Tableau found out there is a common column. So you might have some related information in this table. And that is what it says here, relationships. This line only tells you that it is related. All right, but there is no join applied here. So okay, we don't need this. I need to join tables as well. Okay, so you can do that, but understand that there are two layers here which is developed by Tableau. So the two layers here are the logical layer. So the first layer, what we call as the logical layer, and the physical layer. Right? So the logical layer just tells you the information, which is this one. So Tableau has created two layers now, and this layer we call it as the logical layer. We are not joining anything here, so we are just having another table just to the side of it. All right, so we'll see that again. And what is a physical layer? So physical layer means where the two tables are available and I can join two tables. So we can do a lot of things which we did yesterday in the old version. Physical layer contains the tables and the data. Right, so it contains the tables and the actual data. Okay, so this is some theoretical part, but my requirement is, sir, I don't need this tables here. That's fine, but just observe here. If you drag the second table and if you click on that, it shows what is there in that table. And if you click on this here, so it shows what is there in that table, right? And there is no join working here. So there's nothing called as join here, right? But if this is the case, and if I go to sheet 3, so what happens here? So how does it looks like? There is no join. Remember, we did not join anything. This is one table, this is another table, and this table information is here. All right, so these are the dimensions, these are the measures, and this is a second table information with the 2 dimensions and 1 measures. Right, so there is no joining, just the tables are displayed one below the other like this. No, sir, this doesn't work for me. I want to join tables because only then I can get the required information. Okay, then what you do, just remove this from this list. So what is this layer here? When we drag one, this is a logical layer. So we have to go to the second layer, which is physical layer. Then what you do here is double click on this. All right, so if you double click on this, you will get this window. So what you have to do, once you drag the table from the left side, that is a logical layer in the latest version of Tableau. And no, I want a physical version. I want to join two tables here. Fine. Then double click. So if you place your mouse there, it tells you very clearly. So double click on this table to add joins or unions. Okay, let's double click that. And now this layer is called as the physical layer, where you have the tables here. And take the second one and do the same thing. So if you drag now, So it tries to create a join here, right? So the same thing, what joins you want to make, same thing which we saw in the previous version, you can apply the same joins here. Right, so now I want to make an inner join by default, and I want to join another table as well. So I want to track that here. So W, W automatically joins them based on the common columns. So it is trying to join join three different tables based on a common columns.
So can you please, repeat this joins one these parts, orders connecting to returns and users.
I didn't get you. So just dragging and dropping. Okay.
Huh. I mean,
Double click this
okay.
and remove, close it. So this is the first screen which you see, the orders.
Yeah.
You want to do a join, then double click on this. So you have to double click on this, but
Okay.
don't do parallelly. So I can sense that you're trying parallelly. Please don't do that.
No,
So
no, I'm
double
not doing it.
and you get this table, which is a physical layer, and then drag and drop it the same way as you do.
Okay.
Then click on it. You can see the different types of joins coming up, and based on the columns, everything is the same. What we discussed previous day, it is exactly the same thing. But once you are done with this, now I want left join. Okay, you can see the number of records. So just close this window. You can close this cross mark, and the symbol will be something like this. So there are
Okay.
two. So it is displaying that there is some kind of a join between them.
Right.
And go to the sheet, and you can see that we are getting now two different tables here. So that's how we have to use the joins in the new version of Tableau.
Okay.
I
Fine.
know many people confused with this because I wanted to show the old ones and the new ones. So we saw old one yesterday, and today it's the new one. And if you want to edit the join again, change something, double click this, you will get this window, and then you can remove this here, and I don't need the table, so now it's only one table. Close it and go back here, so you will get only one here. Alright, so that's how you have to perform a join in the new version of Tableau.
Okay.
Right, so hope it's clear for everyone.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so that's good. Okay, so maybe can we discuss union? Maybe not now. Okay, this one will pick up a little later. So union is something about joining tables one below the other. We'll take up that little later. So we'll get back to where we were discussing. And yeah, that's about the set, and that's about the tables, the joins, how to do that. Okay, now let's see the next one here. Groups in Tableau. So how can we create a group? Generally, the interview questions will be very comparative. That what is the difference between a set and a group? So you might hear this question very frequently, very commonly, even in the interview questions, the websites. So let's talk about that. So what is a group here? Let's say theoretically we'll understand that, and then we'll come to this dimensions. Let's say there are class, it is a class 10 or class 8, where there are, let's say, 30 members in a class. All right. So if there are 30 people, so there will be definitely a groups, isn't it? So one group is always busy in studying things. So maybe like 5 to 6 people. So they only discuss about the subjects, nothing else. And there is another group of, let's say, another 10 people, and this is average people. So they discuss about the subject and they discuss about something else, the movies or that kind of stuff. And you have the rest of the people, and let's say another 10 people. So really we are not interested in the subjects. We are only interested in the non-subject related things. That means the last benches here. All right, so you can evaluate where you were when you were studying in your school, colleges here. So I used to fall in this category. So I did not have any interest in studies. Fine. So what we are trying to understand is this: there are 30 students, and in this 30 students, we are trying to do some groups here. So this group does this, second group does that, third group does this. So that means what we are doing is, with the available data, we are again grouping them into some higher categories. That means we are doing again another category. So first group always studies, very good. So group 1, so group 2, group 3. In the available data, we are again making another small groups. So technically, what we call a group is combining the values into the higher categories. So how do you define a group? Means combining the dimensions into higher categories. This is a theoretical definition what we have, but let's apply this here with any example here, then we'll understand better. Let's say we have ship mode. Let's take the ship mode here. Okay, not ship mode. City, customer segment, product category, container, region. Okay, let's get another thing here. It's connected to another file. Okay, it's connected to data source quickly. Ship mode. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. So you have got 4 values in this ship mode. Now I want to group first 2 into one category and the second 2 into another category. So if you are using Amazon, then it says like Amazon Prime delivery. So you will be delivered the product on the same day or maybe on the next day. So if you are a Prime customer, if you are a normal customer, then it takes 2 to 3 days, isn't it? So here we have got 4 different ship modes. So here I want to group them, first 2 into the primary and second 2 into the normal delivery mode. All right, so here we are grouping the existing dimensions into the different categories. So how do you group that here is, we can do that in 2 ways. So let's select here manually these 2 things, and I want to make them as the primary Prime customers and these 2 things as non-Prime customers. All right, let's see how to create a group. Observe there is a paperclip here. All right, you can see a paperclip, and you can also see that here, isn't it? So let's create a group by clicking on these two, this paperclip icon. What happened? What happened here? A group is getting created here. Right, so you can see the symbol something like this coming up here. So this symbol represents there is a group here. Okay, so it's only one group. So in that group, I want to just change the name here. I don't want this name. And remember, this is another interview question. So can you change the names? Yes, we can change that. So how do you do that? Using aliases. So what is an alias? Just changing the name. So you can have the alias names as well. Your friends call you one name, your colleagues call you another name. Right? So I want to say this as the prime customers. Let's say okay. And the second two, I want to rename this. I want to create a group, and let's click on this icon again, and let's rename that using alias. And here we'll say non-prime. Okay, delivery. So it is not the customers. Let's put the delivery as the name here. So edit alias and then prime delivery. See what we did here. This is the definition for the group. So we are trying to combine existing items into another dimensions. That is nothing but a group. Here we had 4 values. I'm just combining two into a group, and now I can make use of this group instead of this. Now I want to see how much products are delivered or how much sales I got. So just take the values and just put that here, and you can see that the values here are more for non-prime delivery. That means you are getting more sales still in this category. So people are not trying to switch to prime delivery because it can be of the cost, it can be of anything. So we really don't know. But internally, what is this one value? So one group contains two values here. So if you take ship mode again, so you can see this prime contains first class and the same day. So we are combining both values into single dimension. So we are combining these two into single dimension, which is this group here. That means we are trying to combine values and we are calling it as a group. All right. So how did we create a group now? So we created by selecting some values and clicking on the paperclip icon. Okay, so is that the only way we do that? And no, observe here. So we can do that from here as well. So let's take here some other values. So subcategory, how many values you have? You have these many values. Okay, that's fine. Now right click on the subcategory and then create a group. So do you have a option to create that? Yes, click on that. What you want to do? Okay, now I want to create 3 groups here. So from alphabet A to alphabet F, I want to create one group. So just select the values here like this and say click on the group and you will get the names here. So just rename it here from A to F. I'm not giving any specific name, just with the A to F. And if you minimize, no, these are the left out values. Now, okay, let's put here and select these things and let's say group them. And you have the values from L to P. I'm just grouping by alphabets here, nothing more than that. And I want to say here the rest of them. So don't select again these 3 things manually and say group. You can do that, but instead just to select this option, include other, then the rest of them will be created under other, but just rename it again. So we chat. So I'm creating 3 different groups here, and unless you click on apply and say okay, that group will not be created. So we can create a group from the visualization, or we can create a group by right clicking on the dimension, and then we can create that here. So now take this, you will have the values. If you have so many values, just group them into small pieces, and then you can do your regular analysis here. So you can do the regular analysis of what region, how much, and you can just sort out the values. So the point here is we can create a group from the report or from the tables. And another very commonly asked interview question: can you create a group for dimension? Yeah, definitely, because we did that. Can you create a group for measure? Always confusing, isn't it? So they ask for one and immediately they'll go to another. Yes or no? Okay, so what do you think? Maybe no, but the answer is yes. Right. So can we create a group for a measure? How do we make use of it? Observe here. Now, what we can do, what analysis we can do by creating a group here is let's right click on any of the measures. So I would take here profit and then create. You can see the difference here. There's a group. Okay, so let's click on that. Now I want to find out all the negative numbers. That means I want to group all the negative values into the loss, and I want to group all positive values into another group called as total profit. Okay, so can we do that? So click on that and then go to this group here, unless you find only the negative numbers, still here, and click on group, and I would like to say this as my loss. When I sold something, I got loss as well, and this is all the positive numbers, and I would just say here include other and then rename this here. Let's say it as profit. Now I want to see how much total loss I got till now, how much profit I got. Valid. So any business person can validate these options. Yes. Let's say apply. And very important interview question. So when you create a group for a measure, where is that getting created? So every group again comes into the dimension only. But why? Why? Because this is just the name. This is just the name which we are giving. The actual values are still available in this section only. So we are grouping and calling the group with the name. So the names always comes into the dimensions. Right? Let's say okay, and let's have this value now here. And let's drag your profits into this section. So okay, till now you got this much of loss. Till now you got this much of profit. So what is the total profit you got? This plus this. And how do I show that on the screen? So go to analysis tab and go to totals, and then is it a column total or a row total? So you have values in one below the other. So I would like to say here this is a column grand totals. So say that. Right. So what is it doing here? So it is just trying to add these two values, and this is your final total profit. Right. So I got minus 156,000 loss, and my profit is 4,42,000, but my total profit is only 2,86,000. And so we can definitely group by the measures as well. and we can group by dimensions as well. Okay, so the difference here, now come back to the question. What is the difference
Sir,
between the set and the group?
Sir, please show once group by measures, little bit.
Sure. Okay, no worries, we'll do it again. Okay, so how did we do that is, so select the group, sorry, the profit, and right click on this and say create a group. Okay. And select all the negative values here. Select all the negative values. Here we just have to wait for some time. Select all negative values and then say the group. Then just rename this here to loss and group everything, the rest of them, include other, and I don't want the name other. So I'll just say here profit. That's it. So the positive values are all grouped under the profit and the negative values are all grouped under the loss. So hit apply and say okay, so you are getting a group. Then just pull that value here, and then these groups are talking about the profit measure. So then they take the profit measure and put it here. So if you put that here, so it shows in the negative and the positive numbers here. So this is a 0, this is negative, this is the positive. Right? So that's how we can create a group for a measures as well. You can create a groups even for sales, like the values you can take from here to here. So yes, you can do that for every measure. Right, so the question here is
Okay.
okay, so can create a group for a measure. So answer is yes, we can do that. For a dimension, we can do that. But for a set, can you create a set for a measure? No, we cannot create a set for measure. See the differences now. We cannot create a set for a measure, but we can create a group for a measure. Point number one. Second point, set contains only in and out. So if you observe carefully, the set contains only two values. Set contains only two values. What are they? In/out. So I don't have any other option to make. So maybe I can call this is one group and this is another group. Yes, you can definitely call that. But what about the groups? I can have n number of values in the groups. I can have 1, 2, 3, 4. I can have so many number of groups based on my conditions. Yes, we can definitely create a group. But set, now your condition will only be applied once and you will only have in and out. But group, we can group the values into multiple higher categories, and so definitely it is more than one. Right? So that's the very big difference between the set and a group. Right? And we use sets for comparison purpose, and we use groups just to analyze like what is happening in that. So how much sales you got in that. So it is definitely not needed for comparison purpose, and this is only used for analyzing so how much values you got for that group. But sets, generally we use them to compare the values. So that's the another minute difference, I would say. Okay, so is that clear now? What is a set? What is a group? Any questions? Now it's time for questions.
And sir, can you tell the differences once more, sir, between set and group?
It's same thing. Set is in and out, but a group is you can have multiple groups based on your selections, based on the conditions. Sets cannot be created for a measure, but groups can be created for the dimensions and for the measures. Sets are used for comparison purpose, and groups are mainly used for identifying what are my values when I combine these many things in those groups. So just it is used to display the values when you combine them. But sets can be used more in terms of the comparison purpose. So we can have a combined sets for the sets, but can you combine a group? Alright, so can you combine these two groups here? Right, so you can never do that. So it doesn't allow. So that's small differences between the sets and the groups.
Sir, in tables, when we click the options over there is an option available like group by. So what is it? Is it parallel option? Like is it any different?
Where is that? Where did you see that?
Uh, Sir, just right click on the category section in the table, sir. A drop here group by. Yeah. Is it same?
Yeah, so if you create any folders, then you can definitely have them in terms of the folders. So I can move some of my dimensions into the folders, and I can manage them together. I want to put all this into one folder. We'll talk about this when we discuss the case charts. So there it is useful, but yeah, in simple terms, you can group them and put it into one folder. So create a folder and you can move them into one folder. So folder, create a folder, and then let's say this is a geographical, the name of the folder, and so you can pull all the geographical ones into this folder. So how you organize things, it is the same way. So this is one folder now. Because I have too many values, isn't it? I don't want to scroll every time. I want to organize them in terms of the folders. Yeah, definitely, we can do that. So similar way for this geographical, let's say we want to create another folder with the name IDs. So all IDs, I want to move that into the folder. Customer ID, product ID, row ID, any other IDs? No. Alright, so all IDs are now into that. Alright, so that's how we can put all the dimensions into the folders, because easy to maintain, isn't it? So this is a use of that.
Okay.
Group is
Okay.
different because it creates a dimension, but folder is just placing the dimensions into a folder. And if you don't want to see these folders, you can just say here group by data source table name. So again, everything goes back to the original, but that will not be deleted. So when you come back here and if you select again group by folder, so they should be still visible. So it's not deleting them, so we are just hiding them. So group by data source table, so it shows as original one. When you connect it, what are the fields available? This is a table view and that is a folder view. But this grouping is different, which gets the paper clip icon. All right, so the question in the chat window, is there any limit for combining sets? Definitely, there's no limit. You can combine as many sets you want. All right, so let's see one small thing again and we'll wind up for today. What do we see here is bins in Tableau. All right, so very small topic. So bins in Tableau is nothing but I would say the basket. So bins are nothing but the baskets. And how does it work? All right, so maybe I have to give you the small example. Let's talk about this here. Maybe in our childhood days, we were building this type of charts. How do we do that? Let's say student 1 has got 30 marks, student 2 has got 50 marks, student 3 has got 70, student 4 55, and another student has got 80, and the sixth one has got 90. And then let's take till 10 values. Seventh one got 75, then eighth one got somewhere around 59, ninth one got around 85, and 10th person got somewhere around 40. Okay, so just think that these are different students and their respective marks. Now I want to create a small histogram chart. So how does a histogram chart looks like is, I want to take the interval 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, and 75 to 100. So the histogram size, what I'm keeping is 25. So if you have remembered this, now we used to take 30. Okay, 30 falls in this category, so we used to draw one line. And the second 50, so 50 can be considered in the same window. 70, so 70 is falling in between this. And then 55, so 55 we used to draw this. 80, so here. 90 here. 75 maybe here. 59, so somewhere here. 85, so here. And then 40, so 40 is again here. So when you have like fifth value, we used to draw 4 lines and then we used to draw a line, isn't it? So if you have remembered this. Now what you are doing is, we are trying to see how many values are falling between these buckets. And how did we build a histogram chart? So here it will be 0, this is 25, this is 50, 75, and 100. And the numbers here might be maybe 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's put it that way. So 0 to 25, I don't have any value, so no graph. 25 to 50, so the total count here is 3. So now I have to draw a line from here to here. It is a 3. And 50 to 75, 4. So there will be a continuity of this line, isn't it? So we used to draw that like this. 75 to 100, so 3. These are the values. So what you are doing here is, we are distributing the values in the sizes here. So the size is 25. So I'm considering the size of each basket as 25. And I'm seeing how many values are coming up here. 3, 4, 3, and 0. So this is like a basket, and how many values are coming into this basket here. So this type of chart is called as a histogram chart. This is not Tableau related, please. This is a mathematical chart which we learned in our high school, maybe between 7th to 8th classes. The same thing is available in Tableau with the name as bins. So bins is nothing but the size of the basket or the basket. So where it holds number of values. All right. So I hope this is clear what we are doing here. Similarly, we'll apply the concept of bins to the data and let's see what analysis we can do. All right. So let's go to Tableau and let's see what we can do here. All right. I just had one snapshot for you. So if you have observed, if you're doing any Google search for any of the place which you want to visit, so then it might tell you that the place starts by 6 a.m. and you can see the crowd is increasing here and then decreasing and then increasing and then decreasing here. So that means if I want to visit that place, maybe I can choose where the waiting time is very less, maybe here or here. So this is a waiting time where it is a lot, isn't it? So this is a similar chart which is called as the histogram chart. So what is a bin or what is a histogram chart? Distributing the values in equal intervals of time. So here the time is 1 hour. And the previous example, the size was the number which we took was 25. So the distributing the values in equal intervals of time, that we call it as a bin. Right? Okay. So let's see that now. So this is one common thing which everyone searches in Google and when to visit that place. So we'll just try to find out. Let's come to Tableau here. And what I want to do here is I want to find out the sales or profits. So let's do something here. Right click on any of the measure and go to the create option and you find an option here, bin. Okay, so bin is nothing but distribution of values in the equal intervals. Click on a bin. What happens? Let's wait for a second. So it is telling you that you don't have any values. So it's size of the bin. Okay. Okay, so there's a new change here. Observe. In the old version, when you right click on any of the measures and click on bin, this value will be automatically populated, all these values. But now it showed me the bin size as 1, and unless I click on this, it did not show me the values. So maybe that's a new change here. And observe the range of values. So what are these? You got the minimum sales as a 0, that means a starting one. Maximum sales 22,000. Now I want to arrange my sales values in the equal bin size. So what are your values? 0 and 22,000. So there's a huge difference, isn't it? So Tableau suggests the default bin size as 447. It is not really helpful in this case. So I will like to change this here. So show me the bin sizes of 5,000 each. So how many can we get here? So if I say 5,000, the maximum is 22. So 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. So I might get 4 values here. And then adjust all the values in these 4 bars. Okay, let's say here, okay, and let's see what happens. Observe, when we create a bin, it is getting created under a dimension again. But the symbol is a histogram chart like this. So a bin is also a histogram chart. Okay, that's the symbol of that. And let's have this and put this here. Because I said 5,000, so it is displaying these values. So 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay, but what are these? This is for a sales. So let's take sales values and put that here. Swap the view. Now, how are these values coming up here? Say, observe here. How are these values coming up? So 0. So it is still 4,999. So this bar contains 0 to 4,999. And this one 5,000 to 9,999. So that means you have 4 bars here like this. And how are the values coming up here? Take the table and go to the sales column. 266. Is 266 between 0 and 5,000? Yes, this value goes inside. 731 inside. 14 in this. 957 this. 22 this one. So like that, every value, so where it is going, so it is just adding that number here. And do you have any bigger values? Let's say here somewhere we should have a bigger value. Let's sort it out. So I got 22,000, isn't it? Yeah, so 22,000 means, so this value should go into this category. And 17,000, so it comes here. 13,000, it goes here. Then 10,000, 11,000, 10,000, so it goes here. What analysis we can do with this here means, what is the sale amount which customers are willing to buy in your superstore? So what I can say here is, I'm getting this much of sales by selling the products which are between 0 to 5,000. So people are interested to buy the products which are between 0 to 5,000 in my superstore, and this is where I'm getting this much of amount. So I need to be very careful now. I should not get the products worth above 5,000 most of the time. So I should not pick up those products to sell in my superstore, because there's only handful people buying products above 10,000. Isn't it? So above 10,000, I see very less sales. So my superstore is like eligible for products between this and this, and this is where I'm making this much of profit. Let's see how detailed analysis we can do with just creating a bin. And can you show that in percentages here? Percentage of table. So you are getting 92% of the sales by selling the products between 0 to 5,000. You are getting 92% of your sales. That is analysis which you can do. So you can consider even this one as well. So till 10,000. So yeah, it might be worth, so I can take from 0 to 10,000 K products in my superstore. So I would not really keep the products which are above 10K, because people are not buying that in my superstore. So I can get rid of this from the next time. So that's how I can improve my business here. So that's the usage of a bin. Right? And one common questions here we get here is, let's take the combinations again. Can you create a bin for a dimension? Can you create a bin for a measure? So can you create a bin for a measure? Yeah, we did for a measure, isn't it? So create a bin. Can you create a bin for a dimension? Okay, let's take a look here. Create, and do you find an option called bin? No, I don't see that option. So here, generally we say here, no, we cannot create. This is one common answer. But here we can say one more point here is, yes, if the data type is numeric. Oh, what does that mean? So can you create a bin for a dimension? Generally, answer is no. But if the data type is a numeric, then we can create a bin, but that is of no use. But still, Tableau gives us the option. Observe here. These are the ID fields, isn't it? So the ID fields, I would like to see the hash symbol, which is a numeric. Right click on this and say create. You can find the option bin because it is a numeric data type. But if it is a string data type, bin option is not available. What about the date? Create. Can you see a bin? No, we cannot. What about a group? No, you cannot create. Right? So you cannot create a bin for other dimensions, but you can create a bin for a dimension which contains data type as numeric, but we would say this is of no use. This is meaningless output. So we don't get any good analysis with that, but so Tableau gives us the option here. So you have to say no and yes when you get this question. Right? This is a common question in TCS. So they'll ask you, can't you create a bin? So we say no. Okay, if my dimension is having a numeric, can you create a bin? Still we'll say no because the SAR said no. So we should say no. But the answer is yes, we can create it if the data type is numeric. But unless you have a very good numeric data, you can't show any meaningful output. If it is a meaningful data, then this field, which you think is a numeric, then it will go into the measure. Isn't it? Yeah, that's about the bin. That's about the sets and groups in Tableau. All right, so that's all for today. So if you have any questions, welcome.
Sir, I have one question, sir.
Mhm.
All the sets, groups, and bins, whatever we are creating, all that would reflect only in the dimension for
Yeah,
pane, right, sir?
correct.
Okay, done. Fine.
Cool. Okay, so any other questions before we wind up for today?
Uh, Before to wind up this, I have one question on a joins. In the joins, when I connect to a data source, by default, it is showing with me. For me, it has a inner and left. Right outer join and full outer join are being completely disable, sir. What could be the reason for that?
Okay, so disabled in the sense what data you have. Can you send me the data?
The data same whatever I'm connecting with the order date, sir.
Oh, are you using the same data set?
Sample superstore.
Sample superstore?
Huh. In the older version, I'm able to say it, but in the newer version, I think, in the newer version, in the right hand full outers are being disabled, sir.
It's enabled. So send me the data and the snapshot. Maybe looking at that, we can answer.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it is a 10 version, it is showing it as a disable, sir. In the new version, I'm able to see it.
Right. So that's the key thing. Because when you say new version, it should definitely enable.
Yeah, it is connecting to a new version, but in the older version only, it is by default, it is in the disable mode, right hand full outers.
Correct. So it doesn't allow those two joins in the old versions of Tableau.
Okay.
That's as
I mean, what could be the reason for this this
they did not
joins?
they did not implement that all joins in that version. It
So
was
to
just
act,
that.
to get, I mean, if we want to get any data in the right outer join or full outer join, if any of the table which I'm connecting to that, if that is the case where it matches to right and full outer, so in that case, how do I
Use of,
represent that?
don't use the old versions, only use the new versions. So every
Okay,
version has got some limitations.
okay,
Every version of Tableau has got some limitations, and they are trying to overcome the limitations version by version. And there are many options, like you said, the old versions doesn't support. So Tableau 9.0, so they don't support the concept of LODs, level of
uh-huh.
detail. And even there are many things. The sorting doesn't work in properly in 10 version as well. So in 10, sorting doesn't work. So in from 11, that means the next version of this, which is 2018, they came up with a new concept called as the nested sort.
Okay,
Because this option, it was like so many ways you have to do, with so many steps you have to sort the values. So that is overcome in this option. And even connectivity to the legacy systems. So even when you are connecting to Excel in 10 version, you will have option to use oh, what is that here? The joins from Excel as well, and even you will have an option of writing the custom SQL queries in 10 versions. So when you connect to
okay,
10, you can connect to Excel file, and there when you click on open button, so there you will have a drop down, which many people doesn't observe, but when you click on this drop down, you can use this option, new custom SQL. So you can write a query and you can get the required data. So that option is removed in the latest versions, about 10. So every version has the limitations of the features.
okay.
So
But my question still, I mean, I think it was not answered. I mean, if I want to get this right and full order, if I access to the SQL Server or Oracle, in that case, will this right and full order versions will enable?
and now see which version you are using. That's the question.
Okay.
Which version? 10? No, it's an
No, I'm using it 10, sir.
10 is an outdated. So that's as designed.
But in the organizations, everyone will not come up with the new versions, right? But I mean, if we go up with a version, whatever the versions which are coming up into the market, now everything cannot be used by the organization. They'll go with the one version which has been licensed with that, right, sir?
Now remember, the 10 is a very old version. So when you got 10,
I think in the 16 or 17.
right? So will companies still buy the license and still use 10 version? So they are spending money, but will they still stick to the old version? No, right? So companies, how will the company evaluate this when they are paying any commercial license? When a new version comes up, hardly 2 to 3 months they will upgrade to the latest versions.
Okay.
So hardly 2 to 3 months, but this can happen in just 1 month. But here we're taking 2016 and we are in 2020. So why would I still stick to the outdated version? Isn't it?
Okay. Right,
So to
right.
answer your question, if there is a new version coming today, maybe company waits just for a month and they will upgrade everything to the latest versions.
Okay.
Isn't it? I'm paying
Okay.
money, but I just go with the old version when I have a new feature, new version. So why would I don't use that? Isn't it? So just put the question and think from a project management point of view.
Hmm.
Right? Even your client will ask you, why are you using old version when you have new version? So what answer you will say? isn't it? So
Okay.
it's what would say, this is a not very good thing to just stick to the old version. We will stick to the old version. So why we take 1 month is we just need to validate whether the new version is robust. Does it has any bugs? Does it has any valid or known issues? So then I would wait for a month so that I get the updated version or the fixes for the new version.
Okay.
Then the robust one, then I would definitely migrate to the new version.
Okay. And how, what are the versions that we can put it in the resume that we have recently worked in the resume, sir?
Based on how much experience you keep. If you keep
I just
4,
3 to 4.
so this is 20, then you have to keep 2016. So what version was there in 16? Keep that version,
Okay.
right? So you have to follow,
10 not. Hmm.
right? So you
Okay.
have to follow.
Okay. Fine, sir. Yeah.
Sure. So don't
Thanks. I
stick to
got
the,
all the answers.
so yeah, that's a valid question from you, but so from a company point of view, that is a invalid question. I'll
Okay.
tell you an example. Yesterday we had a patch for a Microsoft. So they released a new patch for the database. So immediately, so next day, they are scheduling to upgrade the database because if something gets hacked, then
Hmm.
the company has to pay millions and millions of rupees to the one who suits you. I mean, who put a law, I mean, sorry, who put a case against you. So if there is a lawsuit, then you have to answer every question and you have to pay lots and lots of rupees. So that's why companies always go with whatever updates we are getting, so do it immediately.
Oh. Oh, that is a very, very big one. Every time the version gets updated now, the company gets go with the new version, then again we need to move all this data into the other new version.
No, so it is automatic. So why you want to move that manually? Everything is automated. You can work with the new version, isn't it? So there's no problem.
Okay.
Old versions of Tableau can be opened in any new versions of Tableau Desktop. So there is
Right.
no restriction in that. But the reverse is a restriction. So if you are building a workbook in 2020, and if you are trying to open that in 2018, so it doesn't allow.
Okay.
So, but here, lower to higher, you don't have any restriction. You can directly open that in the new version and then start working on it. So you don't need to do anything specifically.
Okay.
Right? Only the server will be upgraded. So Tableau server has to be upgraded to latest versions.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sure, sure. Okay, all right then. So I'll speak to you tomorrow. A different concept. Bye bye.